So guys, hello, welcome to the webinar. Me and Yanis are just kind of slowly being set up, but I think basically I can kind of introduce you a bit to the platform itself. So firstly, here on the Zoom platform, how it's going to happen, we have the webinar chat in which you can, if you want, you can type something, you can communicate to other people who are watching also the webinar. Just when you do that, and make sure that you choose to write the whatever it is you write in the chat to all panelists and attendees, so that like all of you are going to be able to see that. Otherwise, I see some people are only writing either questions or just saying hello to all panelists, and then only like me and Yanis are going to be able to see that. So yeah, just make sure of that. Also, there's a Q&A section here on Zoom platform. So if you have any specific question that you don't want to get lost, that you don't want to lose the question in the chat, so that's probably going to be easier to just put the question in the Q&A section, and then I'm joined by my colleagues Yanis, who's our support, and Alexei, who's one of our directors, and then they will also answer some of your questions in the Q&A section. So me myself, I'm Kristaps. I've been with UgCS for about 5 years now. And it's been really exciting, been a really good ride. And so in this webinar, I'm going to tell you about how you can use drones for search and rescue operations, as well as how you can use our command and control center for the same purpose. So let's maybe first I can tell you a bit about the schedule, kind of what we plan to do in the webinar. So firstly, I think I'm going to show you a demo video of like a search and rescue operation. This is actually kind of one of our commercial videos that we made, and that's public on YouTube. So for some of you, it might be nothing new, and for some of you, it's just going to show the idea behind the command control center and how it's supposed to work, and like some of the usual scenarios. Then I'm going to go briefly kind of into UgCS flight planning, some of the features that we have there, as well as for the command center. I'm going to show you the kind of the schematic, how the whole thing works, and how the connection works. And then we're going to probably go into video analysis. In video analysis, I'm going to explain a bit more in depth on how does the solution work, on what you, for example, what you saw there in the video, how to plan certain missions. And of course, also, we're going to be interacting with all of you. I hope that you're going to have a lot of questions for us, and we'll gladly answer them. And then after that, yeah, I'll explain a few more features, a few more things that we have been working on. And at the very end, we're going to have a Q&A section. So this means that I'm going to answer some of your questions live. And I think actually also, while I do, the whole webinar, I'm going to look at the questions. If there's something that I can answer in that specific topic, then I think I'm going to do that. I think let's kind of jump into the video. So that's going to be over here. So here you can also see our YouTube channel, UgCS TV. We have a lot more content there. So if you're interested in seeing some more of our stuff, then after the webinar, feel free to go there. Also, some of you had questions about let's say. What if you get disconnected while watching the webinar? Are you going to miss something? You're not going to miss anything, because the recording of the webinar that is going to be put on our YouTube afterwards. So everything that's happening now is being recorded. And so you're going to have access to that later on, and you're going to be able to watch it. Okay, so maybe let's jump right into the video, and let's see. So basically the scenario is like this, that the person is going through the woods, and for instance, the person gets lost. Then there's a search and rescue team that goes and searches for that person. So in this case, they're going to be using 3 drones. So you see that there's a DJI Inspire 1. Then there's the M200. This is also one of the drones that we're going to have here on spot that I'm going to demonstrate the video from. Yeah, then there's the DJI Mavic. And here's the command control center solution setup that you see. So this right here is the main router through which everything is going to go. So I'm going to show you the schematic of how everything connects later on. There's also 2 laptops. So one laptop is used for video, as you see here. So you see the video feeds from all drones. And the other laptop, you see UgCS mission planning software running here. So you can also, again, kind of see how it's going to be divided. So each drone is going to have its own search area that's going to be assigned to that drone, that pilot, where it's going to fly. Yep, so now you can see the drones taking off. So it's the Mavic, it's the M200. And so they're flying over the area. The operators are monitoring the video in real time. However, as you probably know, it's a bit hard to monitor the video on the tablet screen in direct sunlight. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to have a centralized operations center where you can see the video, let's say in an environment like this, where you can monitor them. And then, for instance, if one of the drones notices the person, then that operator can alert. So you can see that the person clicked the button there. So Placemark appears on the map, and the command control center operator can quickly identify the coordinates of where the person is. And then basically a search team can be sent out so they can find the person. Yep, so everybody's happy, everything's good. So that's the basic setup of how a system like that works. At least one of the potential setups that you can use. So, all right, I think regarding video, that's done. We might, I'm gonna show you some parts of it later on, or you might, you can also see that yourself. But I think that the next thing we can do is we can jump straight into UgCS, mission planning software. So let me maybe briefly tell you about what is UgCS. So UgCS, it means Universal Ground Control Software. So what you can do with this, you can control multiple drones and control multiple drones simultaneously. It has a 3D environment, quite similar to Google Earth in certain ways. So it's like a 3D globe on which you can plan missions for your drones. Let's make this full screen. So you can see you can add certain drones here. For instance, you can add some emulator drones. So this is where you have all the drones on your screen, all the drone controls. And then on the left side of the screen, you see all the routes that you have. You see the current mission. So for instance, here you can add a new route for the drone. Let's say and this is just going to be like a high level overview of it. I'm not going to go into that much detail on this. So for instance, you can make some simple routes here. And then after that, you can, let's upload that to our emulator. Let's use this one. Yep, and after that, you can just, arm it and then send it on a mission. And in addition to this, obviously this is quite a simple mission, so we have other mission planning tools as well. Just to name a few, we have an area scan tool, a photogrammetry tool, we have a perimeter tool, also creeping line, expanding square, which are search patterns specifically designed for search and rescue operations. And I'm going to demonstrate these in more detail later on. So there's measurement tools, and also we support no-fly zones. And then in addition to that, what's good about UgCS is that you have different map options. So for instance, if you go here to map layers, what you can do is you can import your own custom map layers. So for instance, you can see here that this area right here, it's a bit different. It's different because this is actually imported from an actual flight that we did. So you see, if I remove it, this is how the area looks without it. And then if I go to here and insert it back, you can see the area is a lot more detailed. So what UgCS allows you to do is, one of the things it allows you to do is to create your own maps of a certain area. So let's say if the map isn't too up to date, then actually you can, you can fly it, and then you can stitch the images together. You can make your own map. Since UgCS also comes with the mapper software that's basically made to quickly make maps that you can use there on the field. Another good functionality is that since a lot of the search and rescue operations, they actually happen in places where there's a lack of internet. So what you can do is you can download the maps for offline use. So let's say if you need the map for a certain area, and let's assume you haven't yet flown in the area. What you can do is you can simply go there while you have internet connectivity. And then you can go here and you can click on offline map. So this is going to catch an offline map in the radius of 1,000 meters. And the radius, it's also possible to change it to a different number. And then basically once you go to that area, you will have the map and you'll be able to fly there. we were actually, this year, we also went on an expedition in Greenland. And there also, obviously, we did not have any internet, but we also had the map pre-cached. And also, we actually made our own map using the drone. And then we simply imported it back into UgCS. And in addition to the maps, what you can also do is you can actually import custom terrain elevation models. So in certain places where, let's say, the terrain elevation has changed, let's say there's some quarry that has been dug, or there's a mountain that's not there in the default elevation data, then you can actually get this from other sources, or perhaps even make it yourself with certain, like, let's say, LiDAR technologies and whatnot. And then, so you can have your own custom elevation profiles. Then we also support 3D model, 3D object import, as well as placemarks. And I'm going to go to placemarks a bit later. So that's like a brief overview of UgCS. And then next thing is, what is the command and control center? So for this, let me, again, bring up the browser here. And so here you can see, this is our website for the command and control center. So it's ccs.ugcs.com. So if you go to the site, you can also, I believe you have access. Yeah, so here's the video as well that I showed you now, if you want to see it yourselves. And so if you scroll down here, we have a few solutions for team and for the enterprise. In this case, we're going to be more focused on the team solution. So as I already explained, what does this involve? This involves a main Wi-Fi router, 2 laptops, 1 laptop on which you run the main video server, as well as the video player, another laptop on which you run the UgCS mission planning part. Then you have a few pilots in the field, and all the pilots, they have Android devices here. These devices connect through the Wi-Fi to the laptop, and that's how you see the drones in UgCS. And so the central command center operator, he can send missions to the drones, and you can do, as I said, you can divide the search area, and then basically you can assign each certain area to a drone, and you can make them fly and hopefully find the person that you're looking for using this. So this is kind of it regarding the deployment. What we're actually going to do a bit later on, we have 2 drones here in the office with us. So we have DJI M200 as well as a Mavic 2. And so we're going to connect both of them, and then we're going to show you the videos and kind of how it looks like. But I think before we do that, let me jump back to UgCS part. And I think we can do some quick missions. So we can already kind of make the missions for each drone, make the missions for each drone that we can fly with them later on. So let's maybe delete this one. That's no longer necessary. And so firstly, maybe let's make a new mission for the, let's say, the Mavic. And for the Mavic, for instance, I think we can make an expanding square mission. So let's make it, here you can see different parameters for the mission. So this is the search radius. Search radius can be like 250 meters. So all you need to do basically is click here, and then you're going to see that it's going to be generated around this point, like so. Oh, also, another important feature is that all the flights that the drone is going to do, those are going to be recorded in the telemetry player of UgCS. So it's going to be actually possible for you to later replay those flights and see how they went, and if necessary, see what the drone behavior was like, if there were some problems with that. And so this is the mission for the Mavic, and then I think we can create another mission for the M200. So let's create a new route. Okay, I think in this case, let's maybe use the creeping line. Creeping line is in many ways similar to the area scan tool that we have. Okay, that should be good. Oh, here we just need to add the camera to the drone. So let's go here. here we can add the payload. Let's minimize this because the zoom controls are a bit in the way here. Yep. Okay. I think for this one, probably need to do it in a different place. But okay, let's maybe deal with that a bit later on. So firstly, let's our team can actually maybe connect the drones already, and then I can demonstrate to you the video streams coming from them, and then we can launch the drones in a simulator mode on both of the missions. So let me just quickly turn on the remote for the M200. My colleague Giannis is he's also now in the office with me, helping with other drones. So the Mavic, namely. Okay, so just in a moment, both of the drones will be turned on. So you can see actually here already that the Mavic has already been connected. So essentially, there's no certain limit on the number of drones that you can have that you can fly simultaneously. We're also using UgCS with our drone show software. That's not a product from us. And with that, you can use up to like 200, 250 drones. So there's no certain limit on search and rescue operations. Okay, so the M200 is also going to be up and running soon. Oh, I think while the drones are turning on, while we're configuring them, I can quickly look at some questions. So Adam is asking about the Android devices and iOS devices. So currently iOS app, it's still in development. So currently, if you want to use DJI devices with UgCS, you do need to have an Android device. Oh, you want to, the pointer arrow is black. And yeah, let's see if I can quickly maybe change it. So you can see the pointer arrow as white. That might be easier. That's a good point. If I can quickly figure out how to change that. Oh, the ETA on the iOS version. Well, that's actually a complicated question. I think probably Alexei maybe can address that, but I think possibly this year or maybe in the next one. So let's see if any other questions. Okay, let's continue. With the mouse cursor, I wasn't really able to figure out how to change it quickly. So I hope that you don't mind the black cursor. I'll try to go a bit slower. Oh, so a question from, can we simulate our own drones? UgCS, it comes with inbuilt emulator drones. So as soon as you install UgCS, you're going to have these two emulator drones. These you can use just for testing. You can use them to kind of get to know the workflow of how everything normally works and how you would actually also use it in the field. And if you already have a DJI drone, so let's say Phantom 4, Mavic, or M200, or some of the other ones, then what you do is that basically once you get our app, it's called UgCS for DJI. You can get it from Google Play Store. Then you can go to the main menu, and in the menu you can simply enable the simulator mode. So which I'm actually going to do soon for the M200. Okay, so now you can actually see that the M200 is here as well. So yeah, the EMU drone, this is not a real drone, this is just an emulator, but the M200 and the Mavic, these are real ones, except that they are in simulator mode, which means that they have certain, the behavior is kind of the same as it would be for a real drone, and that they are simulated to be at this location. Okay, I think we can also start the video stream. So I'm currently seeing the video stream from the M200. Yanis, if you can, maybe you can also launch it for the Mavic. Just click the play button there, and then we can start. I'm convinced that this one, let's use the area scan, might be a bit simpler to demonstrate. So for example, now let me just make the mission real quick. Let's say like 30 meters AMSL altitude, side distance 20 meters. So let's make it here. Okay, that should be good. And then we can actually add a few parameters. So, oh yeah, but guys, one thing though, I see a lot of you are asking your questions in the webinar chat. There's a Q&A section in the Zoom platform, and just so your questions don't get lost, and so we can address them a bit more directly, it would be good if you could just put them there in the Q&A section, and then you'll also actually be able to see like a better overview of like what questions have been asked and what have been answered. So yeah. Yeah, and returning back to where I was, so here you can see the area scan mission. Okay, so that's too far from the, okay, let's make it just a bit smaller. And I think we can probably also remove this emulator drone because that's no longer necessary for us. I think it's showing the error because we have different drone profiles, and I think I just chose the one where I did not change the maximum limits of how far can the drone fly. So I think now, yep, so now we should be good. And so for instance, let's change the angle here of the direction lines. Okay, so this is kind of just an example of how an area scan mission would look like. Currently, the side distance is 20 meters, flight height is 30 meters. We can actually increase the flight height a bit. So, you know, let's make it like 15 meters and side distance as well. I think we can make it a bit bigger. So let's make that, let's say 40 as an example. Yep. So to each of the root element, the root elements that we have, you can actually add certain actions. So in this case, if you would fly, let's say, search and rescue mission here, and you wanted to scan the area, what you would do is that firstly, you'd be interested in having the camera point directly down and, you know, seeing the ground, seeing if there's anything on the ground. And to do that, you would use this set camera attitude option. So here you can basically change the angle of the camera. So here, let's maybe change the camera tilt to 90 degrees. So it's going to go 90 degrees down. And then after that, you actually want the camera to also take photos every, either every X seconds or every X meters, for example. So for this, we actually have two actions. We have the action to set camera by time, and we have the action to set camera by distance. And in this case, let me put the set camera by time option here. And let's say we can make the camera take a picture every 3 seconds. So you can see the route was loading here, and now it's done. So I think that now let's take this emulator away so it's not in our way. I think now we can take the M200 and we can upload the mission to the M200 and fly it. So let me click on upload here. Yep, so you can see the drone, the simulated drone moved here. Obviously, with a real drone, would be advised to first like place one waypoint near the drone, the first waypoint, and then it would be able to just fly here. And some problem. Seems. I think the upload still went through. Yeah, I think we should be good. So it's probably because of the simulator, I think. So, okay, let's maybe try, although we might need to actually upload it again. Let's try that. Okay, I think we are almost there. Yep, it seems like the route has been uploaded. So that's okay. All right, and now what's left to do is we just can click on auto mode. So hopefully, yeah, so the drone status changes to active. You see that here in the telemetry window, it's showing that the drone is armed. And now the drone will start flying and it will start taking pictures. And this telemetry window, actually, if you would like to, then you can actually expand that. So if you click here, you can see you can expand the window. You can see the pitch, the roll, also the heading of the drone. And so one good feature is that, firstly, you can actually see how the drone's flying here. So you can see which part of the route has the drone already covered. And what this also actually allows you is this allows you to fly the mission with changing the battery in the middle. So let's say if this mission would be too long, and you can actually see it here in the parameters. So if you go to show elevation, the duration is about 24 minutes. And you basically see that once the drone reaches a certain point, if it can no longer continue it, then you can simply click return home. The drone would return back to the starting position. And then as you would upload the mission again, it would actually prompt you like whether you want to continue from the first point or whether you want to continue from your left off. So what other options you have there, specifically for search and rescue purposes, we have added the option to place certain place marks. So to do place marks, what you want to do is that, as you saw in the video that I demonstrated earlier in the where the the missing person was searched for, if you click on the place mark icon in the app itself, let me click it now. So you can see actually now it placed a place mark here. So this means that if the drone will be flying actually above this area, then firstly the operator can see that something is there. Then you can actually click on the place mark here. And then like this, this doesn't show much just because the drone's camera is pointed down at the moment and it's located inside the office. But normally you would see what the drone would be seeing from above. And actually this picture here has coordinates already in it. So what you're able to do is you're able to actually export this so you can download it. For instance, let's say you can download it to your desktop, and then you can forward this image to the also the people working with the search and rescue operation. So they would just take the image, they would take the coordinates from the image, and then they would already send out some team to that location to investigate. Yeah, so again, I'm just going to repeat the question. So if you have some questions that you want to ask, please you can use the chat to just talk to others. But regarding questions, please put them in the Q&A section in the questions section, so my colleagues can answer them, and then you can yourselves also see what has been answered and what has not. But okay, returning here. So let's assume that the drone runs out of battery here. So normally you'd click return home. So in this case, let's click return home. You can probably hear that the drone in the office is beeping as well. So firstly, just going up to the return home altitude, which is set to 50 meters, and then it's going to return here. Okay, so now let's wait for the drone to land, and then I'm going to demonstrate how you can restart the mission from the last point after changing the battery. So of course, normally you would fly longer. You would probably, let's say, if this mission would be like, let's say, 30, 40 minutes, you'd probably fly it halfway or even more than halfway, return home then, and only then you would perform this procedure. But just for saving some time, I'm doing it here at the very beginning. Okay, so now you can see the drone has landed. And so what we're going to do now is we're simply going to click on upload. And here you can see in this dialog. Okay, so I'm just seeing some questions or problems about the audio. So I guess for some people it's okay, for some it's not. Well, let's hope it's better. We connected the audio directly to through the Ethernet cable to the router. Well, I mean to the computer that's connected through Ethernet. So hopefully it's going to be good. But let us know if you're experiencing any issues. So coming back here, you see you have two options. So you can either start the route from the very beginning, or you can actually make the drone fly to the first waypoint and then fly to the route starting point, which would be located right here. So let's select this one, and let's upload the route. So I see that the upload is still going. You can always monitor the upload progress in the Android app that we have. Video stream seems to be good as well. And I will demonstrate that in a second. So seems like it should be okay. Oh, no, it's not. So probably just timed out due to the connection. So let's just try again. Vehicle connection wrong. Well, to be honest, we're experiencing some interference between drones. So I guess that's just the thing you have to sometimes deal with, especially with DJIs, if you have multiple of them in the same room. So let's try again, see if it works. If not, we can demonstrate the same thing on the Mavic. So most likely, yeah, we're going to have to probably go with Mavic on this one. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, but basic idea is that when you click the upload button, then you just select it here, and then obviously on the field, hopefully you will not have interference problems like we have here in our office inside, and then the drone basically fly here. Yeah, it's a good point. It always happens. Works when you do it before the demo, and when you try to do it during live, then always stuff fails. So I hope you guys understand. So yeah, the drone would just fly here, and then it will continue the mission from here. You'd still see this green line. So this means that even in cases when, let's say, you won't need to change the battery multiple times during a single flight, it will still be possible, and you would still, you will still see where the drone stops exactly. And also, again, just reminding about the Placemarks feature as well, that has actually been implemented quite recently. And so just to kind of reiterate the functionality of it. So while the drone is flying the search and rescue mission, it's taking the photos as well as the operator is monitoring the video live. So if the operator notices that something there is on the video that seems suspicious, let's say it seems like a person might be there, then the operator simply clicks on the place mark here to place it. I just clicked it and you can just see it. It's there at the drone's location. So the place mark has these coordinates. So you can see that's part of our office right there. And then you can click on download if necessary to download it, or you can simply investigate it in a bit more detail. And then after that, if necessary, you can send out search and rescue team, or maybe you would just notice something that at first you thought maybe it was a person, but turns out it's just some, let's say, natural feature. So yeah, that's about it regarding the place marks. About the whole search and rescue workflow. So as I explained earlier, there's the video that the person is monitoring, and then the drone is taking photos. And to speed up the search and rescue missions, you can use these place marks. But even, let's say, if the drone goes until the end of the mission and it seems that you haven't found anything, what's actually also possible is that after the flight, once you land, you can just download all the photos from the drone, and then you can look at them in more detail. You can also use them to create a map and import the map back. But you can analyze these photos, if not manually one by one. You can actually run them through some algorithms that can try to search for human-like features in them. And then they can be reconfirmed by actual people looking at them and seeing if there might be something or not. If yes, then all of them have the coordinates inside of them, and then you can simply send out a group to go to that area and see, see more up close what might be there. Okay, I think that's it regarding the M200. We're going to fly with Mavic in just a bit as well. But before we do that, I think I'm quickly just going to switch over to the other computer here just to demonstrate the video player, because as I said earlier, in the command and control center, there's two main, basically features. It's intended to be used on two laptops. So on one laptop, you would be seeing what I'm seeing here. So that's the UgCS screen. Here you have all the mission planning functionality, and here you can see the drones. But what you don't see a live video coming from the drones, and that's in the other computer where we have the video server running, and where we also have the live feeds from the drones showing up. So let me just quickly open the screen sharing. So, okay, I hope that you can see that. So here, what we have is we have the two displays. We have the display from, put this way. So I have the display from the Mavic and the display from the M200. What's important is that, firstly, you can see both of these coordinates of where the drones are. You can see the altitude, and you can actually monitor up to 4 drones. And if necessary, you can actually switch. Let's say if you just want to see a single video feed, you can just switch to it here. Put the zoom control a bit out of the way. And then here, you can actually, let's say if you want to see the video from the M200, just click on that here. And same for the Mavic, if you just want to see only that video from the Mavic, you can use that. Or you have a 2 video setup that's also quite similar. So again, you just select this one, for instance, and the Mavic, or you can, let's say, have a 4 screen setup here. And if you go down here in taskbar, so there you can see that we have basically the video server running here, and so all the videos going to the video server. So this means that on the Android device, how it's configured to connect to 2 separate IPs. So IP number 1 is the video server, which is located here on this computer. And IP number 2 is the IP of the main UgCS server, which is located on the other computer here. But what you can actually do is you can choose on where you want each component to run. So one of the good things about UgCS is that it's a modular system. So basically, any component can be run on any computer. So for instance, on this one, I could also run UgCS client and then just connect to the server that's running on the other one, or connect to the server here. So what's good about this is that it supports multiple different setups out of the box, and it's very easy to connect to different ones. Maybe now I'm just going to quickly see the chat here and the questions, if there are any. They can answer right now, and then we can basically move on. Also, setting these place marks and getting a picture of that coordinate, is it only a DJI feature? Currently, yeah. Since this app that we have on Android, it's only for DJI drones. But we're always open to some custom projects. So if you have some interesting drone project that you would like us to implement this feature into, then we can look into that. So if you're interested in anything like that, you can send an email to ugcs@ugcs.com, and we'll get back to you. So a question from Anonymous. For single drone applications, do you still need a laptop with both the video player and the desktop, or can you just use one laptop? Yeah, that's like up to you. For if you just want to, just fly a single drone, like in theory, you can also, yeah, of course, use just normal UgCS desktop. That's what the software was built. The command center is more for team operations, for search and rescue operations, and gives you a lot of useful features, as like, for instance, the setting the place marks. So, was a question about video server storing the videos during the mission. Yeah, currently that's not happening. We are working on it, but currently it's not yet implemented. But later, quite soon, we're also going to have a video recording feature. And also what we're going to have is we're going to have video processing using our mapper software, so you can actually make maps out of videos. And a question from Christopher, can you stream the video from the video server in the command center to remote locations? Well, yeah, essentially you can stream the, if let's say your pilot is located on one side of, let's say, a city, or it can be even bigger, it can be a country. Then basically, yeah, the server, in theory, it can be located anywhere. We actually have a few clients who are using setup like that. So the way it works is that simply, as long as you have some internet connectivity, namely like LTE, 4G, it's actually possible to transmit the video to the server that's located in a different place, and also the main like operating room would also be located there. Yeah, so Adam, about the Placemark feature, yeah, it's currently for autopilot, it doesn't work exactly like it does for DJI, mainly because you just need the app to get it to work as nicely as it does here. For other drones, let's say if you're using some autopilot drone for search and rescue operations, what you can do is that once you see something, you can use this option to create a placemark here. And this isn't going to create a placemark exactly like so with the picture. This is going to simply put a placemark there that you can later kind of come back to, and you can compare that with the coordinates in the images. But it doesn't work as well out of the box because, probably as you understand, most autopilot drones are like more custom built systems, and so it would be necessary to kind of adjust it for each and every one. Yeah, so about the video player, this is a feature of the command and control center specifically. So this is not for normal UgCS software. For normal UgCS software, there's no such functionality. And if you let's say if you just would like to fly one drone, then you'd probably be simply using only our Android app together with the normal version of the software. Okay, actually, let me see if there's actually anything that we can cover additionally. I'm just looking through the plan here. So basically what we have already covered, we covered flight planning. I told you a bit about processing the images, making the map. I think I should have actually the mapper software here, just so you can kind of see how it would work. Probably it's just going to take too much time to process the images live, but I can just demonstrate to you, the idea behind that and how mapper will work. Oh, it's just in a different screen. So this is the mapper software. Essentially, it's quite simple to work with it because after you do the flight with the drone. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, screen sharing isn't on this one. So let me just turn it on real quick. And okay, there we go. So I think this should be better. So here you can see the mapper software. And the way this works is quite simple. You simply choose the directory with the images. So this means that after the flight, you would have to get the SD card from the drone with the images that you made. Then you simply get those images on your computer. For instance, you can see here, I have a folder with images. So if we open up like one of them, you can see these are one of the images that were taken in the same kind of field that I showed you, that you can see from the top that's already stitched together And then simply you would choose, here you would choose this directory, then you would choose the output directory, you would click process, and then it would do its thing. And the end result of that would be here. So let me open that. So here you can see, you can have the logs, you can have the tiles, and if you open up the report, then let me quickly show you. So it says how many images has it processed, what's the area. Here it shows the map that has been stitched together. Here there's a rough elevation profile, although it might have some problems depending on the camera accuracy. And so here also you have the orthophoto, and the orthophoto is actually what was imported here inside of UgCS. Yeah, so I think there's a question about also the server. What is the server using? So the server itself, it's there's different options what you can use, but basically you can actually choose between RTSP stream on the UgCS app as well as RTMP stream. Also the question, is the bandwidth of the drone CPU due to UgCS streaming strongly stressed? From my experience, not really. We haven't had issues with that. It's mostly if, let's say, you are streaming video on a computer that's maybe not as capable, then you might have some issues. But as long as your hardware is quite capable, then I think the drone CPU shouldn't really be an issue, because the drone is transmitting the video anyways to the tablet. And yeah, but also about UgCS Mapper, one note is that the Mapper software actually, at least for now, it's not exclusive to the command center. So you actually have the Mapper in the normal version of UgCS as well. Yeah, so I think we covered the battery change, we covered the place marks. Let me actually try to get the Mavic drone here. And then what I can try to do is I can try to just demonstrate the battery change again, and we can hope that this time it's going to work better than for the M200. So let me upload the mission to the Mavic. Although here, because in this case, it's not really moving automatically. There. Okay, let's try. Yeah, so you can see the Mavic is taking off and it's going to fly to this location and do the mission. So also here in map options, I can show you how, again, to enable this overlay. So this overlay is exactly the same as you see here in the in this orthophoto. And so importing it is again, it's quite simple. What you do is you click here to add, you type in a new source for that. And then simply here, you click on upload, and then you upload the new source there. Okay, so I think now we're back and Mavic has landed. And now let's try to re-upload the route here. So here you need to click to fly to the route first waypoint. So let's click on that. So now it's uploading the route. Upload successful. And now let's click on auto mode. So you see now it's taking off, and what's going to happen is first it's going to fly to the first waypoint, which in this case would be this, and then it will fly here. And from here, it will then continue on with the mission. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions while the Mavic is doing that. Yeah, so another question we had is about the, will the session be sent to like participants and put on YouTube? Yes, it will. So this webinar is being recorded and this is going to be on YouTube afterwards. So here you can see the Mavic flew to the this waypoint, that location. And now it's going to move here, and then it's going to start flying the mission. Yeah, so you can see here these warnings from the sensors. That's just because the Mavic is sitting close to the window, and that's why it's sensing that there's some obstacle in front of it. Yeah, I think, well, I mean, regarding this functionality, this is kind of it. I think now if you have some questions about, anything that we showed here, feel free to ask. I can also try to address some of them live currently. So again, it's kind of a recap on what we covered. Maybe like, some of you joined a bit later. So basically, firstly, I showed you the video of where the drone was flying in the, basically the person was lost in the forest, and then we used drones to find the person. And then kind of everything in this webinar is kind of based around that video. So now I'm demonstrating just a setup where we have one single router. We have two laptops. So one laptop is running the video feeds from both of the drones. We have two drones connected. Currently, both of them are in simulator mode, but the process would essentially be the same with, flying them there in the field. I demonstrated also the feature about using place marks. So if you just, on your DJI drones app, UgCS for DJI, if you just click on the place mark button, which is kind of the same as the photo button, if you have enabled it, then that's going to place a place mark like so here. And then you're going to be able to see this image on your screen. As well as, so you can see the coordinates, and you can actually enlarge the image, and you can download it if necessary and give to the other members of search and rescue team. And you can have basically as many drones as you need here. So let's say if you're using like, 3 DJI drones, 5 DJI drones, that's all fine. You can divide this area into multiple segments. So you can have each segment for one operator, one drone pilot, and then you can have a central command control center monitoring, place, let's say either a van or some central like server that can be located in a remote location. And then all the videos will be streamed there. From there, the main operator can do mission planning and also talk to the pilots. One other functionality that I can also mention is that it's actually possible to control the camera from UgCS. So here, if you go to input mapping, then, and if here you select payload 2, then actually using the keys on the keyboard, you are able to control the camera of the drone. But of course, then the other person would have to the operator of the drone would have to just confirm that he's allowing you to get control of the camera. And then if necessary, you can, let's say if the camera has zoom, it's possible to zoom into a certain location, see what's there, and also, to move it around a bit. Yeah, and I see some questions here about, let's try to address them one by one. So firstly, will this work with iPhone, iPad? Currently, no, but we are working on the new iOS version for us. So currently it's only Android. But hopefully that by the end of this year or next year, we'll already have the iOS version. If you want to, I see there's a question like how do you, if you're interested in the command and control center solution, how do you proceed and what do you do? So basically we have a website that's called ccs.ugcs.com. Let me try to bring up the browser here. So here, ccs.ugcs.com, and here at the end of it, we have a control form. So if you're interested in this, simply put your contacts in here, send us a question, and we'll come back to you as soon as we can. And so what's your business model? A question from Fred. So basically, we sell the software. We sell the software with the licensing. And so there's either let's say if you're using just one drone, you can use the normal version of UgCS. And the pricing for that is all here on ugcs.com. So if you go here, if you go to pricing, then this is where you can get information on, what features does the software have, without the comment center functionality. And you can either purchase it as a perpetual license, or you can get it as a monthly license. But about the command control center, yeah, basically it's quite similar, that you would need to purchase it. The price is a bit different. So, just if you're interested in this, just get in touch with us, and that's how you can find out more about it. Okay, let's see. Oh, so a question about Adam. You mentioned requiring two laptops for the command control center. What are the required specs for those laptops? I think I know we have the specs in the UgCS manual itself, but for the command control central, basically, I would recommend at least Core i5, ideally Core i7 processor, and at least 8 gigs of RAM, ideally, 16 or more. Oh, at the indication price level, if I'm mistaken, I think it's around 5,000 for the team edition. Yeah, so around 5,000 euros. And yeah, about the data storage for command control center, so you can actually choose to just store all data locally. So that's why also our solution is being used by some law enforcement agencies. So if you want, the data to be saved, data to not be accessible by anyone else. For instance, you can use an LTE solution. So when the drones, you can have like encrypted SIM cards. So when the drones are flying with the pilots out somewhere, let's say in the field, in the city, then they can transmit the video over a safe channel to the main control server, which is located in, the main facility. And so this can all be made in a way that the data isn't accessible to anyone but you. So let's see if there's some other questions. Yeah, I think basically we have covered, I think like most of it, what we're going to cover in the webinar itself. So I think now let's just do a Q&A session, and I'll try to answer all the questions that I can, and then yeah. Let's see. I think I saw a question about the battery regulation on airlines. Yeah, I've flown with batteries a lot, because we're also in, as I mentioned, we were in Greenland, and for that we were flying the M600 drone. So yeah, the problem was that for the M600, you could not really get the TB48 on the airplane unless you are part of, let's say, some military personnel that's for which the regulations aren't as strict. But mostly, yeah, if it's above 100 watt hours, I know some airlines, they actually can carry batteries of up to 160 watt hours, I think it was, but then there's limitation of only taking up 2 of them. But yeah, obviously for the M600, you would need to have at least 6 of those batteries. So yeah, there's a problem with transporting them on an airline, unfortunately. Oh, but brands of drones being supported in the future. Well, currently we're mainly focusing on DJI drones, as well as autopilots, which can involve, Pixhawk, PX4, unique drones. They also have PX4. Previously we have made integrations with other drones, such as Lockheed Martin Indigo. We made integration with micro drones, with microcopter, micropilots, autopilots as well. So, if some drone comes along for which we see that the market is really, really good and a lot of people are purchasing them, then it's very likely that we will also get into, developing support for that drone. But until then, or until, someone comes up with a project that's, that's kind of more interesting for us to, develop the support for the drone for, I think most likely, like things like the command center solution, it'll probably be mostly for DJI drones, just because the availability of them, the good price performance, and how many people actually are using it is a really big factor. So if you have any other questions, people, please feel free to put them there in the Q&A section. And while you do that, again, if someone joined a bit later, I can maybe again explain a bit about the workflow of search and rescue operations. So the idea is that while the drone's flying, firstly, the drone operator himself or herself, they're seeing the video coming live from the drone. But at the same time, the drone is taking these images. And while taking the images, then basically, if the operator sees something in the video itself, then he or she can put a place mark at that location and can basically see that the image that was taken in that exact location, and that image can be put as a place mark here in UgCS. So kind of like that. Of course, it'll be from drone, you know, flying from above, let's say a field in this case. That's just so you'd be able to react in as little time as you can to, you know, increase the chances of finding the person hopefully alive. And then if nothing is found in the flight, then actually these images after the flight, they can be processed. And then firstly, using our software, you can make a map of them that you can use for future flights. And secondly, you can actually, if you have certain, you know, algorithms or let's say you can use machine learning to actually process the images and see if there are any signs of something that looks like a person there, for instance. And you can have a machine automatically detect that. And after that, you can actually use people to compare these images, to look at them and see if there's someone actually there, or is it worth checking out. So what else can I answer? Oh, so best practices for camera tilt and angle using the expanding square. Well, mostly, I guess it also depends on the altitude. Mostly you'll probably want to be 90 degrees down to see what's happening. In some cases, maybe for some cameras, you might want to be a bit less than 90 degrees, so the camera is looking a bit forwards. Oh, see, another question about ADS-B avoidance. Is it functional? So yeah, we have developed support for ADS-B receivers. So how does it work? You can plug in an ADS-B receiver into your computer. There are multiple like USB ADS-B receivers. I think the one we integrated with was microadsb.com, the one that these guys make. And so the way it works is that you can plug it in, and then if any aircraft that will be detected will be approaching your drone, firstly, it will be shown here on the map as an airplane. And then secondly, you'll get a warning, a proximity warning that something is approaching your drone to give you enough time to either take over the control in manual mode of the drone or land the drone. Are you working with processors or Lockheed drones? The question. We did develop support for Lockheed Martin Indigo drone in the past, but currently we're not really actively working with them. Okay, let's see what other questions are there. Yeah, the distance, the proximity warning, that can be adjusted, but I think the proximity warning itself, at what range it's going to be, it's not adjusted actually through the user interface. So it's like to adjust that, I think you need to edit this one file. If you're interested in doing that, you can drop you can drop an email to support@ugcs.com, and then we can get in touch, and then we can tell you how you can do that. But okay, I think unless there are any other questions currently, I think we are probably done with the webinar. And well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been really interesting doing this again. As already mentioned at the very beginning, the webinar recording itself, that's going to be available on YouTube. So you're going to be able to see it a bit later as well. I think this time we made it nice and short. So yeah, if you're interested in knowing more about the Command and Control Center solution, firstly, you can visit the website here. So ccs.ugcs.com. And let me get the mouse cursor real quick. Yeah, so you can visit our website, ccs.ugcs.com. You can read more about it, about the application. You can read actually also about us as the company. If you're interested simply in the UgCS software, you can visit ugcs.com. We can compare the different software levels. You can see what drones we support. Here's the Lockheed Martin that I mentioned, all the DJI drones that we currently support, autopilot of course as well. And yeah, so if you want to get in touch with us, there are two ways. If you have some specific technical questions, you can send them to support@ugcs.com, and my colleague Giannis is here also on the webinar. He can help you there and answer your questions. If you have some more, let's say, propositions on projects that we might do, then you can drop an email to ugcs@ugcs.com, and then we can get back to you and we can get in touch. Yep. So, all right. Thank you. And well, hope to see you in the skies,